Welcome to the channel all about economic board games. Today I'm going to be giving you a run through of this game, The Last Spike, and you can see the designer here. It's brought to you by Columbia Games, and this is a railway building game. Now it says it plays 2 to 6, but it recommends really playing it with about 3 to 5 players. Takes about 45 minutes this one. I think when you get used to it you could probably get it into 30 minutes. And if you are after a quicker video and a sort of shorter insight, go and have a look at my overview I did last week. So what are we doing in this game? We're essentially placing tiles forming track, and we're trying to achieve a full route from St. Louis to Sacramento. Either way, as long as there's a route somewhere along those paths. Once that happens, the game ends, and whoever has the most money is the winner. You'll be paying money to put down these tiles, these tracks to build them, and you'll be speculating in land for each of those cities, and you can see the land costs at the top and how much they'll pay out depending on how much you've speculated on a certain city. So I'm not going to go too much over the rules. There's not that much to it anyway. I'm going to kind of dive straight in, and just to show you that the rule book is literally an A4 sheet. And that is it. So very quick one to learn and get the hang of this. So I've got a 3-player setup, and there is only me playing as usual. So we've got the 3 players in. You begin with 4 tiles each. You will have randomly took out a tile each before distributing these, and whoever has the closest to A1 I think goes first. You put them back in. In a 2-player game you take 1 tile out, and it kind of keeps things interesting as you don't know which tile it is. When you get near the end of the game you're like, oh, have you got that tile? Who is it in the bag still? So 3-player game, you start off with 50,000. Now the money in this game, you've only got the 3 coloured tokens, and it's kind of on the board, 1, 5 and 10 for those. And I like the way the game actually has the game turn on here. So the first thing, we'll assume this player here is first player, they're going to lay 1 track and pay the cost. So we have E1, B3, D4 and W4, and they correlate to certain positions on the board. Now you can only place a tile, or you have to place a tile, that is either next to a city, so you got all these coloured cities around the board, or adjacent to a tile already out there. If you can't, then you place another one of your tiles, but you pay double the cost. So looking at these, then we've got E1, which should be next to a city. That's over here, yep. And our other ones, B3, D4 and W4 is next to one as well, so we've got the choice to play either of them two. And we've got D4 and B3, which D4 would be next to a city as well. So we've got some good tiles here actually. B3 is the only one we wouldn't be able to play as yet. So we're going to go with, what should we start off? D4. Let's go with D4. So we place the tile, we pay the cost, so we'll pay a 5, get 2 change. And because we were the first player next to a city, in this case Denver, you'll see these are all the coloured land deeds, I guess they're called. You get to take the 0 one, which says there's no cost. You can see the next one would cost someone £1,000. The next thing we do is collect a payout, if any. Now the only time these pay out is when one of these 4 lines, so from city to city, has been completed, and that's when any city connected will pay out. In this case we've taken our free share, and these are sort of common knowledge. Keep these face up for all players to see. Your money technically should be hidden because it's a big advantage to see what players have got, and normally these would be sort of, you know, hidden from other players, but just to show you guys what I've got today, they're all face up. So we've got no payouts. We then buy 1 property. Now if you did acquire one of these title deeds, it's free. That's classed as your 1 property per this turn, so they don't get a chance to do that. And then you draw 1 tile to replenish, and that is literally it. Next player is going to, they're in A3, C3, E3, E4, so it's technically number 1 and 4 is next to a C, so they're going to have to play E4 unless they had D3, which would be next to this tile adjacent. So E4, let's have a look. We're going to place that there, and unfortunately for them, Denver has already had the title deed that was 0 cost taken. But no matter, they pay the cost for this one, so 1,000, and they now get the chance to buy a property. So you can now buy a property from any of these where the 0 has already been taken. So at the moment they can only have the option to buy a Denver share, and they don't have to, it is optional, but they're going to do that because it's 1,000, and technically their network is giving Denver a good chance of paying out. And just to note, there was no payout on that stage, so we skipped that and went straight to buy on property. So these guys are going to pay 1,000 for that one over, and then they replenish. Okie doke, and these guys then, so we've got V2, Y1, U1 and D2. So what am I actually thinking about here? So everyone is trying to score their cities that they're hopefully speculating on. So you kind of potentially cooperating with other players. So if some players are really, going for this area here, you might want to get involved because you're thinking, well, they're sort of aiming to score it, I'll be part of that. Whereas if you go, well, anywhere basically, and you go all out on a certain city by yourself, if no one else has any invested interest in that, then it's up to you to kind of, the bit of luck as to what comes out, to hope that you can complete that track. That'll become more apparent as I go through. In this case, so they can't play D2, that's on its own. U1 would be up here, Y1, so they've got a choice of Y1 or U1. We're probably going to go Y1 in the hope that the path may head through Ogden, and it's got to go to Sacramento at some point. Saying that, that's a costly tile, 4,000, and thematically it says it's going through the Rocky Mountains, so it's a more expensive tile to place. Plus, it's most likely to score if it's heading to Sacramento, so they're going to go for that one. And they're now going to buy, actually Ogden, they're next to a city, so they get the free title deed. That's great. Didn't pay anything for that. They don't get a chance to buy a property because they've already got one, and they replenish. Over to these guys then. So Z1, that would give them a chance to get a free title deed, which they may want to do. B3, E1. See, they could go for, I think they're going to go for E1 because they've already got an interest in Denver. So E1, and it's kind of key to get to these cities first because you're not actually paying a cost for these. So they've got Dodge City, another freebie, and they do have to pay 5,000 for that one, which is costly. So they are going to end their turn drawing a tile. Now, just to note, if you didn't have any tiles that were adjacent to any existing ones out there or next to a city, you can, as I probably already said, place any of your tiles, but you're going to have to pay double the cost. Over to these guys. So A3, nope, C3, E3, F4 be their only one they can play. They could play E3, so they're in Denver already. I think they're gonna go for it under the assumption that they kind of think this player here has got an interest in that path, that railway track, so they're going to try and sneak another share in. So they're going to pay the cost first, that's 3,000. They now get the chance to, there's no payouts just yet, they're going to buy a property and they're going to pay 2,000, so you can see the cost here, and that means they've got two shares now. They stack them there for everyone to see. So if it does form a connection there, they're going to get 10,000 back, which is pretty nice. So they're going to pay 2,000 for that one, and they draw another tile. Now, yeah, it's a spot of luck as to what tiles you get, but everyone's in the same boat, and it's about keeping certain tiles at the right moments to deceive other players and get the payouts when you want and get yourself a little lead. And over to these guys. So they have D2. U1 would be next to a city, which hasn't been achieved yet. Y2 is, they're able to place that one out, and they've already got one of the Ogdens, so... But Y2 is 7,000 and V2, so it's a choice between Y2 and U1. Now, do they think that this track is worth investing in? Because not only are they going to spend the cost of building it for 2,000, which they don't have to actually invest in Larry, but they're going to get a free tile. But that option to avoid buying something else, or the opportunity cost of not getting something else, could cost them dearly. I think they're gonna pay heavily for Y2. So 7,000. and they get a chance now to buy a tile. So if they, you can see the spread here, hopefully in the camera view of what we've got. If they go with Ogden, other players might start thinking, you know what, I don't want to contribute to this player's success when it scores. But this player could equally see that, look, oranges seem to be the common speculated property at the moment, and maybe they just go, right, I'm just going to take one of these for £3,000. Now you could technically buy any of these, but I don't see why you'd want to pay more money, so they're going to pay £3,000 for that one. So if when that scores, which it looks like a good chance, they're going to get £5,000 back. And considering they spent, well, they did spend £7,000 on that, but they do have a share in Ogden, and maybe they'll see how that pans out. So they're going to replenish. Got a few V's, and over to these guys then. So they've got Z1, which is probably out in the sticks by the look of it. Where's that over here? B3 and W4, so they could concentrate W. They've got W4 and W3. B3 is, so considering this is a track that people seem to be concentrating on, including themselves, B3 is quite a nice one to, maybe not, obviously you can't play it now, but if this track starts heading this way, because it's going to have to get to St. Louis to trigger the game end, then that's a valuable tile to have. Z1 then, W3, W4. I think W4, which already plays a bit of competition amongst these two lines here, but it's a cheap one, it's 1,000, and they do have W3, so they're going to pay 1,000 for that, and they're going to get to purchase one. Now they get, actually they don't, they get Yuma for free, so that's there. So they get a bit of a spread here. Pick one of these. Let's try and speeden this up for you. A3 is not happening, C3 no, Z2 is not happening, and F4 is, yep, that's going to have to be the one they play. 1,000, and they get El Paso. So you can see we've got more options to buy shares now when it comes to that. They're kind of all acquiring these 0 ones. So V2, where did we say that was? No, V4, they could play V4, which would make sense because they've kind of concentrated on Ogden. U1 doesn't make sense at the moment, and D2. So they're going to play V4, and Ogden's already had its title deed, which they acquired. They're going to pay the cost. Hopefully I've been paying that cost as I've gone along. And they are, so there's one more share in Denver, and considering these guys have already gone for it, and they can see that open information, I think they're gonna go for that one, because they haven't actually had to contribute to it, and for 4,000 to get a 10,000 payout, that seems pretty good to me. So how much are they paying? 4,000 for that. Replenish over to these guys. Z1, B3. I think they're going to go, ooh, should they commit W3? Let's put a bit of confidence in everyone that might be the chosen path, and it's only going to cost 2,000 as well, and they get to buy a share. So oranges have gone. If they are committing to this, then maybe yellows could be an option, or they can't get to Sacramento or St. Louis yet, they're still unavailable. Do they want to maybe get one in Ogden? So this yellow one then, they do have one already, and it's cheap. We'll go for another yellow one, so that's 2,000 they're going to pay for that. And over to these guys. A3, C3, that's not happening. Z2 is here, and F1, that should be next to a city. So they're going to go F1, they have to play that one. It's going to cost them 2,000. And they have Dodge City's already been taken out. Now again, do they want to invest in Dodge City if there's a lot of focus around here? Maybe they could want to get a yellow one as well. So they're going to go for a yellow one. 7 change. These guys are D2. Where's D2? No, U1. They might have to play. Y4 could be an option. Yes, they're going to go Y4. So we have, that's a big one because they get Sacramento for free, and that's definitely going to pay out at least once, and that is costly to buy the next one. You can see it's 5,000. So they've got their free share. They I think they paid for Y1. Hopefully I paid for that. If not, I would have had to pay for it. And over 2, so you can see the disparity there. 1,000 for that one because it's sort of in this terrain, and getting over the mountains is 7,000. And over to these guys. So V1 is... Oh, where's V? Oh, V1 they could go for. B3, maybe not. That's here. F2... That could potentially be one, and V1. Tough choice. They've got some power here. Z1, probably not. Although they are concentrating on the... Oh, let's just go for Z1. Actually, no, that's 4,000. Let's go for V1. V1, where's V1? Yeah, let's go for V1. It's only 2,000. And obviously, the game's all about having the money at the end, and they get to buy something. Oranges are out. Maybe they're going to go for a bit of Ogden as well. They can see other players have got some 2,000. And replenish. A3, not happening. C3, so they're a bit stuck with those. And Z2 and X3. So we've got an example here of where none of these, let's just double check, A3, C3, Z2 and X3. So none of those are adjacent or next to a city, so they're going to have to pay double now. And the cheapest ones are these two at 3,000. Now X3 and A3, I'd probably go A3 because, you know, it's 50-50 basically which line's going to go here. They're going to have to pay 6,000 though, folks. That's a lot. And they get to, I'll reveal, well, I won't reveal the share just yet because it's in order and it might sort of give information for a later point. They are going to buy a share. I think Sacramento is a must really. It's there's only a few there, but it's definitely going to pay out at some stage. But it's costly, so 5,000. Replenish. Now I'll do once more round and then I'll leave it there. I'm not going to play a whole game for you. D2 is there. U1, I think they're ignoring U1 to be honest. V2 I think was an option, wasn't it? Yeah, V2 could happen. And A4 could happen as well. And that could, I think they're going to go A4 because it gets them this Omaha share for free. And they replenish and they had to pay 5,000 as well for that one, which, oof, that was costly. Okay, so we'll do one more round through and then I'll sort of explain how the game ends. And these guys, what can they do then? B3. That one's here. F2. Can they play F2? Yes, they can. And C1. C1 would, well, that Omaha share's already gone. I think we're going to go F2. And that's going to cost them 3,000, although C1 would have been their cheapest track to build. And these guys, maybe they're going to sneak another green in for 3,000. Okay, replenish. These guys have C3, which is kind of being ignored at the top. Z2, X3, A1 looks nice, and they get St. Louis as well, and it's quite cheap, so they pay 2,000 for that. They get the St. Louis one for free, which is nice, and amazingly people have had confidence in this track being built here, which then puts sort of pressure on these two now, because, you know, if Omaha to Denver becomes popular, it might even bypass this, but I'll go through that a little bit more in a sec. And finally then these guys, so D2, what's that? D2 could be a valuable one. U1 they're ignoring at the top. V2 is an option, and X1 is kind of down here. Let's go. V2 is costly though. You can see it's going over the Rollins Pass. U1, D. Let's, you know what? Let's just pay it because it's a good one. 6,000. There we go. And they are probably thinking, let's get some St. Louis. So that's going to cost them 6,000. Now, I haven't actually had the chance to show you. What did I pay? 6,000. So that's 4 back. I haven't actually had a chance to show you a payout yet. So let's assume. Let's find if anyone's actually got anything that would pay out. So I'll fake it, but let's just say this player's next and they do play E2. Let's just assume that was E2. what would happen is they've laid the track, they pay it as usual. You then collect the payout. So in this case, Denver and Dodge City are going to pay out. Now you can see that people may be holding these tiles back because they're trying to speculate on the shares before they pay out. But whilst this money runs down and you've been building this track, you as an individual investor, shall we say, is struggling for money. And if you do ever get to the point where you have no money, you are going to have to, you have to place a tile down at one point. And if you can't pay it, you're going to have to sell your land at half the price you've paid here to the bank, rounded up. So that's a shame because you've spent so much, you're getting half back. And that's why this payout's important. And you can see how far we've gone along the game without actually a payout happening. I'm going to demonstrate as this one. So once that comes out, everyone who's got Denver is going to get the money. So these guys have only got the one at 5,000. These guys have got two at 10,000, and these guys have got the same. So you get the money from the bank, and then Dodge City as well. So two there for 14,000, and no one else. You can see that it was very good of this player to sort of have a bit of Dodge City because no one else has got it. It gives them a big advantage. So that's what happens during the payout. And let me just show you the back of the rule book then. So this is an example where the game sort of become pretty much on the last stage. It's called last spike the game, which is when you put the last tile track down. So the red one there, once that's placed, that person will get a bonus of $20,000, which is imperative in this game. And they've completed the railway track from Sacramento going all the way along here, all the way down here to St. Louis. And you can see that the ones that have paid out have got full connections. So if you'd invested at the top here, which is kind of similar to our game, no one's really gone there, you can see they wouldn't have actually got a payout there or there. So all your money you'd invested in those shares would be worth nothing. Whereas even Sacramento only paid out once with Ogden, whereas if you'd invested in St. Louis, it had two payouts at least. So you can see how it's not a cooperative game, but you're kind of working alongside what other players are investing in to have a common interest as to what to go for. And if you are, say, going heavily on Omaha here and you're the only one with all the blue shares and it looks something like that, then why is anyone else really going to want to contribute to your railway track unless they have to because they got nothing else on the go? But as you go throughout the game, you're likely to have things that are alternative to other tracks on the board. So you kind of really want to avoid that unless you get really lucky with what comes out and you just build a track on your own with the tiles, and then you'd be, it's a gamble, I guess, but you'd get a massive payout, 35,000, which could win you the game essentially. So once that track is being made, that is literally the end of the game. So I like the way you're having to look at what your opponent's doing, and keeping the money secret as well is key because you're not quite sure when to play that certain tile because they may be really reliant on a payout. And if they can't pay for their next tile, some of these get quite pricey, 5,000. They're going to have to sell some land to do that, which means, if it was an orange, it comes back in play and it gives someone else that chance to get involved there. So yeah, it's quite a lightweight game. It kind of reminds me of a kind of mixture between Acquire, where you've got these tiles and you're placing them out. That's an older game. And it's sort of a little bit of Airlines U, where you're speculating on these shares, and the more you get, the better. And there's a bit of sort of cooperativeness as other people help your routes, essentially. Now, I don't really go much into game components in my videos, but I think this one's striking, really. The game cover itself is kind of this sleeve. It's a very functional game, which I kind of mentioned in my overview, and you've got like this pizza box, if you can see it here, but it does the job. It's not the best components I've ever seen. You've got this sort of A4 sheet white paper, the board's quite thin, but it lays out flat, and the artwork kind of does the job for what you need. And these tiles are fine, the cards are a little bit thin, but it really works for what needs to be done. So there we are. Hopefully that's been of use to you, to give you a good idea of how this one plays. Enjoy.